You're listening to WSLR. This is 96.5 LPFM in Sarasota, Florida. This is Surreality Central, Surreal News, your weapon of mass instruction. So that was the voice of Cassandra Decker, who joins CareerSource as the Community Investment Manager. She oversees the new regional workforce initiation and helping to lead key conferences, including the State of Jobs Conference, the State of Talent Conference. She's going to use her local and state knowledge of the Florida educational system to seek alignment between job preparation and employment opportunities. We talked about this for those residing in the Suncoast region. She was previously with the Community Engagement Senior Specialist for United Way, and that's where I met you. And she redesigned and oversaw the educational programs, including Reading Pals, where I was one of your Reading Pals in the schools here, in the elementary schools, and also Learning Pals in 10 Title I schools, mobilizing approximately 300 volunteers to support over 1,600 students in her tenure. She was also working for Hillsborough Educational Foundation, Take Stock in Children, research with the Migrant Education Program for graduate programs. Okay, Youth Plan for Sarasota, Florida, Sarasota County, Soarin' 4. I think rather than me reading all this stuff with her, right? You tell me.
Let's hear from Cassandra.
Cassandra, I need to stop talking here. You have wonderful experience and energy.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm excited because I am from Iowa, so I'm starting to witness from afar kind of the unrolling of, our next steps in our political journey. So that's always fascinating to be down here and looking up there and watching it. I come down with a background of watching really hardworking people get connected to jobs because of community, right? And knowing their community. So I'm from Southwest Iowa, and people were talented, and people knew they were talented, and when a job opened up, they were connected to a job. And I know that sounds overly simplified, but that's kind of how it works in a small town. You have referrals, and you get a position. And so when I look at our community in Sarasota, Manatee, I am so excited about the initiatives at CareerSource Suncoast because we want to make our employers and employees feel like they can find each other. We want to have a community that wants everyone in our community to thrive by alignment. And that is sort of what my new position is here. I'm really excited that I still get to work with the school district. As you know, our school district, Dr. Sheila Halpin, who created Soarin' 4, they're very passionate, a lot of them, at finding ways to reach both children and families there. So we have all sorts of stuff going on at CareerSource Suncoast. My first day was January 16th, so I am going to rely on my brilliant colleague, Anthony, to get into the details, but I'm just really excited to stay with Manatee County, Sarasota County, and help develop that feeling of community so everyone feels supported in our community and we can really match people who want to work with good jobs.
All right, Anthony, you're up. Gagliano, tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up at CareerSource.
Well, like a lot of people, I was a client first. So it was just about this time, 2009, and I had gotten laid off from my job. We had just bought our house. We really loved the area. We didn't want to leave, but I knew opportunities unfortunately in journalism at the time were not readily apparent. So I looked around and tried to figure out what else was out there. And my wife knew everybody. It was then Suncoast Workforce at the time, and said, you should go over there. That's what they do, is they help people figure it out. And so I just got really passionate about what they were doing, and it felt really similar to me in connecting the stories of people in our community with employers in the area. And so it just was a great opportunity to come on board. I'm coming up on 10 years now, and I just love that we have that mission, that I get out to meet lots of businesses. We get to interact with the schools, with nonprofits, with government. I mean, we really touch every facet of our community. And as I say, anybody who has a job, has a company that has a job, or has somebody who needs a job, or needs to get a better job, or wants to further their education, pretty much anybody who wants to be here on the Suncoast and work or get education can be our client.
Let me mention your locations because I just happen to have that here. You're located in Bradenton at 1112 Manatee Avenue East. That's in Bradenton. You're also in Sarasota on 3660 North Washington Boulevard. That's in Sarasota. Northport, Goodwill, Minnesota, 14879 Tamiami Trail. You're also at Manatee Technical College, 63. It says Manatee Technical College. Really? This is from your website.
College now? It is college now? Okay.
And also, anyways, it's 6305 State College 70, which is MTI. I don't know why it says. Anyway, I agree with you, but I'm reading from your website here. And also Suncoast Technical College on Beneva, 4748 Beneva. Okay, so what we want to do is ask you a little bit about CareerSource and just a little bit of background. What are the programs and what are the funding?
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. The one we're really excited about coming up now is a new initiative we have called Engage. And so we're really focused on those young adults, as we talked about. So maybe they've been successful and graduated high school. Maybe they dropped out. And what happens to them? You mentioned we're on site at the two technical colleges. They find that their average graduates are in that 25 to 29 age range. So it's what happens to them after they leave high school to that time where maybe they figure it out. And so we're trying to help use this Engage initiative to kind of bridge that gap. As we talked about, there's a lot of opportunities with employers who maybe don't need somebody with a 4-year degree. And so we're trying to help get young adults in that age range, and we're really trying to target those who maybe have some challenges to employment. Maybe that's they have a criminal record, or maybe they're a young adult with parenting already themselves. Maybe they have a disability. Like I said, maybe they've dropped out and they never even got that high school diploma or GED. So we're trying to get them involved with some work experience or some on-the-job training, and hopefully that broadens their ideas on careers on what's out there in our area, because a lot of people don't know about some of the great employers and great career opportunities we have. And so we have some resources, again, to help employers who maybe want to hire people in that one and those age range get some on-the-job training, and maybe that gets them exposed to it, and then they decide, I want to go back to school and maybe get my associate's degree, and we have some scholarship money to do that too. So again, we're working with all segments of the population. We have a coach who specifically works with disabled veterans. We have a new small business and entrepreneur incubator in our Sarasota office called Thrive. So we're really excited about the career opportunities underneath CareerSource Suncoast here.
I guess, how many employees do you have? Sounds like a big group. How many people?
No, we do all that stuff with 70 people in those offices. As I said, our main ones in Bradenton and Sarasota. But again, we're out in the community wherever we can get out and reach people who want to learn more about careers. And again, we touch over 1,000 employers every year with our business team. Like I said, our coaches are on site at the technical schools, helping a lot of people. We do about $500,000 a year in scholarships to State College of Florida and the two technical schools. And I don't think many people know that that's a resource that we can provide individuals who want to further their education to get that better job that'll pay a sustaining living that they can put some money in savings for when something bad might happen.
Yeah, Anthony, I know you've been there for a while. Could you give us any personal examples of some folks that you've helped?
Absolutely. I'm thinking of a young lady who came in last year, a pretty tragic story. She had just had a car accident. Her boyfriend was in a coma short term. She found out she was pregnant at the time. And so she came to us on the heels of that, needing some public assistance and trying to figure out, how do I put my life back together and figure out a career? And so she got lined up with one of our coaches. We helped her get a job in the medical field, and now she's thriving. She's got a new baby at home. I think of stories like that, and it just makes me feel really great about the opportunities that we can help young people. And that's why I'm so excited that we talk about our Engage initiative, because we have a lot of resources. We want to help more people like that. And I don't know that, like I said, those young adults kind of after high school sometimes float around without, some career opportunities. And you think about lost income if they could just get on a path with construction or IT or healthcare or manufacturing. Not a lot of people think of our area for those industries, but we have thriving companies in all of them.
I think that's a nice important point that you bring up. I know a lot of us have been fortunate to have like great parents, or you come from like a whole support system in your own family, where you get all kinds of advice about what to do after high school, or where to go to college, or what to do. But you forget there are a lot of people that don't have that you get out of high school and there isn't anybody at home to point you in a certain direction, and to have a place like CareerSource, I think, to do that. Yeah.
It goes a little back to what I was saying about growing up in Iowa. My family fell on very difficult times, and it was my community that came together and helped. So, yeah, maybe even these individuals have very strong families and fall on hard times. Maybe they've never had strong families. But I like to think that CareerSource Suncoast, we're this community, we're all family. We should think of ourselves as family, because when one person shines, our entire community shines. When we're all thriving, we all thrive together. And so that's really the importance of thinking about CareerSource Suncoast as a connective agency to other places, to jobs, and to other nonprofits, and really using us to connect to the entire community.
Yeah, I didn't mean to imply that, people perhaps, didn't have strong family ties, but that the people in your family perhaps may not have the expertise to understand what the new opportunities are in this really fast changing workforce world, because that is absolutely true, isn't it? Things are changing like really fast. There's opportunities that exist now, probably like I got out of college in 1973. I think it's a lot different than it was in 1973.
One of the fun activities I get to do every year is through the Manatee Chamber, and they do a exercise with high school seniors called Big Bang Theory, and they give them an occupation and say, now you're 25 and here's how much you make, and try and budget for a month. And so For our perspective at CareerSource Suncoast, what I've tried to do is say, if you could pick your own career right now, what would you pick for yourself and why? And the overwhelming, some of the answers were doctor, nurse, and the idea is, and why would you pick that? And the most common reason is my parents. I know somebody who does that, but what if you don't know anybody in construction, or you don't know anything about manufacturing these days? You don't aspire to those careers, but we have lots of job opportunities to do that. So the ability to open up minds about what all is out there is really exciting. And I tell all the time, we get to meet new companies, and you just don't know that they're here and doing these kind of things. We met a company that does RF chips for the cup dispenser. So you go to Disney and it pours automatically. They do that right here in Bradenton. They've got about 15 people, but they have a worldwide agreement with Coke. So if you don't know these careers exist and you can aspire to them, and they need help, they're looking for people.
I know. I heard a while ago, and I don't know if it's still true, and you can tell me that there's a dearth of qualified welders, and that if you could learn how to weld, you could start making $20 an hour.
Absolutely. I can think of a young woman. She was, the Suncoast Technical College just restarted their machining program about 5 years ago now, and she was in that first class, going to school in the morning, working third shift at the gas station to put herself through school. She got done. One of our best employer projects was Air Products out at Port Manatee, and exactly what they need is a lot of welders. But they were willing to take somebody on. She had that machining background. She came out easily making in the mid-30s, and now almost 5 years later with that company doing well better than that. And so, that is a position where we see people just locally making great wages. And if you want to travel and see the world, welders, you can make six figures welding and see the world and get out there and do pipelines, do all kinds of work. Yeah.
Not to mention that we have some really fantastic colleges in this area, technical colleges and four-year colleges, but a lot of people aren't necessarily from this area when they come to college, and so we're talking about like family structure and knowing how to even advise. Well, what if your family is from the Midwest or even a different part of Florida, right? So just being there supportive, working with our colleges and explaining to our colleges how we can partner and get students right out of colleges and retain them in our area, because we want to retain people here.
All right. What's the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act?
So that's kind of like we talked about, those scholarships, that on-the-job training. That's the federal legislation that kind of funds all the things that we're doing. We also do it a lot to do, like I said, sometimes maybe school's not the right avenue. Like I said, we get a lot of professionals looking to transition. And so that's where we're trying to work with employers to say, hey, could somebody within your workforce already train them to learn this new skill? Like I said, again, looking at my own self, I knew I came with a lot of skills, even though I had no experience in workforce. And so how do we help people pivot from an industry that's maybe in decline to some of of these fields that are growing. Like I said, we see a lot of people with professional skills, office skills. How can we maybe help transition them into another field? And so, again, we use that WIOA money as the acronym to fund those scholarships, to do that on-the-job training. So we're really trying to figure out what's in demand there and how do we help link people into those careers.
Yeah. I just want to remind everybody we're listening to WSLR 96.5 FM in Sarasota, and that was just Anthony Gagliano from Suncoast, CareerSource Suncoast, and we also have Cassandra Decker in with us here in the studio.
Right. Talk to us about your orientation.
So, I mean, again, the big part of that for us is career coaching. And so that's called our career growth program. And so you talk about how do people know what you're interested in? So we start with kind of that assessment tool that we use called Future Plans. That's really comprehensive to try and help people get a feel for what's a work style or work environment you're going to be successful in. Trying to get to understand yourself first. And then the last part of it is saying, based on your personality and your work style, here are jobs that are in our 2-county area that are in demand right now that you might be interested in. From there, we try and get them start working with one of our career coaches to try and figure out where their interests may lie, look at some labor market data. We're really big on our career networking. So we do a lot of, each week we do the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People based off the book by Stephen Covey, trying to get people in that right mind frame to figure out how do I transition my career and what am I interested in right now. And then once they've got kind of a lay of what they might be interested in and labor market, trying to use employflorida.com. That's a job database that we use to try and match them up with employers who are coming directly to us looking for career opportunities, trying to hire new people.
So that's tailored for each individual person?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we want to get them hooked up with a coach. Like I said, we do some group sessions, but again, really trying to get that one-on-one attention with one of our career coaches.
And I just took the 7 Habits since I was a new employee, and it's one of our colleagues who, well, we have different colleagues who facilitate, and this colleague is also a career coach. So you are really, when you come to CareerSource Suncoast, you are coming into a place where people are walking the walk. We are doing what we say. We are a part of it. We are in it. And I remember finishing the Covey class, the 7 Habits, and being like, it is so cool that I get to work with this facilitator. It is so cool that this is the culture of where I'm at. And so, you can feel rest assured that everyone, when you come into CareerSource Suncoast, really has, the best for our community on our mind. And we really live what we say.
Is this where, let's say if I was coming in, I might discover something, a talent that I might have that can be used? Let's say when I was a kid, if I did some carpentry, maybe at home, you might discover that and then see that might turn into a skill, something like that?
Absolutely, yeah. Trying to uncover, those interests and abilities. Like I said, I think for us, a lot of times our professionals get pigeonholed to this is what I've done the last 10 years and not be, I know this job or this industry maybe, and not think that their skill set, it could be much, much broader. But we also know, like I said, the 7 Habits course, we're really focused on, a lot of employers are telling us that they're really worried about those soft skills or those foundational skills. So we want to try and help those job seekers build up that mindset, the communication, the leadership skills to get ready to move into that next opportunity.
Yeah, so I want to talk next. Sort of this gets us to the registered apprenticeships.
Yes.
So those people that don't have those skills already developed, apprenticeships are a way of developing them, right?
It's an old model that's coming back around. And again, using some of that funding we have available. Last year, we were really excited. We're the first workforce board, first CareerSource region in the state to register ourselves as a sponsor for an apprenticeship program. PGT had a need in their tool and die making section there. It's not an area where you can just go back to school in our local area and get a certificate or a degree in tool and die, but they have some really experienced people on staff, 30, 40-year history that they want to be able to train that knowledge to the next generation. So we see apprenticeship as a great model where people who are trying to transition and maybe can't go back to school for a year or 2 years can get on the job and start earning while learning through the experienced people at companies that we already have here in the area.
All right. I think you've answered this question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Who's eligible?
Again, some of these programs have qualifications. So again, like I said, with Engage, we're really trying to target those 18 to 24-year-olds who are out of school right now and maybe have a barrier to get in for that area. Again, some of these scholarships, are income based. So it's going to be based on your family size and your family income. We're always looking for people who've been displaced in the workforce. They laid off. Maybe they had a business and they were forced to close it for whatever reason. So, those are kind of some of the basic barriers that we're trying to get people eligible for these scholarships or on-the-job training or apprenticeship. But again, we're a community resource. Anybody walks in, you have a job right now, and I want to know what else might be out there that I can do better. We can certainly help you and figure out just career coaching, get you into, one of our networking sessions, get you referred to some jobs. Everybody, again, really, can take advantage of our services.
Yeah, what are some of your biggest challenges?
So like I said, we're really trying to pitch engage because we feel like maybe just not enough people know that we're out there. Again, we see tens of thousands of people every year, but we know between the, 2 counties, there's 600,000 people out there. So how do we reach more people? Do we get them aware of? Again, we'll reach about 1,000, 1,500 businesses maybe in a year, but we know there's so many more companies that are maybe hiring that could take advantage of the database of workers that have, again, even now, like we say, 3% unemployment. We have about 800 new people every month register in our database looking for employment in the 2-county area.
I'm going to harp on the community situation again. Organizations, nonprofits don't really have the time and resources to go chase after people that might need them, and people that might benefit from such wonderful services aren't necessarily in the position where they have a lot of time as well to seek out those that might help. So it's really the responsibility of our community to be knowledgeable and to spread information about how we can support each other. There are plenty of nonprofits in this area that people have no idea that exist, that when I will be in conversation with someone, I'll be like, well, why haven't you gone to this place for this assistance? And they've never heard of it. And they'll be Bradenton or Sarasota natives. So it's really important that we do things like, thank you for having us on, today at WSLR, because it's really important that we do our duty to spread this information. And so when people happen to fall on hard times, they have the resources, they know a pathway to come.
I'm curious about what would be the tougher demographic group to place. I would think there's that kid that just came out of high school. He maybe hung around for a couple, 3 years. He doesn't know where he wants to go. He's at the younger end. But then there's also the other group that mid-50s netherworld. Some guy maybe used to work at Tropicana. He gets laid off, and he worked at Tropicana for 20 years, but he's only 55. He can't retire yet unless he won the lottery or something. So he got to keep working. Which is the bigger challenge, do you think?
It's probably that one. That's probably our average client, as I said, is somebody who's had a great career and didn't expect to find themselves at this point in time in their life thinking about, what do I do next for employment? So they haven't been in the labor market for a while. They've been focused on the job they were in. And so again, it's how do we help coach them up to realize there are other employers in our area who probably need the same skills you have. And the skills you have may even transfer into a whole other industry that you hadn't really thought about because you've been so focused on, raising a family and doing well at work. And now you find yourself here. So that's, like I said, where we want to get them connected to one of our career coaches, our 7 Habits programs, get them into our database, look at all the job opportunities that are out there, because there's a lot of great potential right now.
I would think I would think that, perhaps, for that older worker, the only thing you really need to do is sort of update their tech skills, update their tech communication skills, because there is basic fundamental knowledge. Okay. But what's really changed that I see in the world is the way you communicate that now, and a lot of guys in the mid-50s are, sort of Luddites. They're like, I don't use a computer. I don't text, So.
Well, this is also a very important notification for businesses that are in our community. Have honest conversations with your CareerSource, whether it's in Sarasota, Manatee, wherever. Have an honest conversation with our team, because, if you're not seeing a skill in a worker that you need, please let us know, because, we have scholarships and the ability to bring that worker to a position that's really going to support your business. But, I think that for me, being, you're talking about the 55-year-old group, right? Well, there are certain aspects that I don't have, and I don't know that I want to say my age. I'm 31. I'm going to say my age. I am proud of my age. So I am 31. And there are things
31 again.
I don't,
be proud.
there are things that I don't know that I would benefit from learning. I don't think there should be any shame in an employee or an employer saying, hey, this skill set would really benefit us. CareerSource Suncoast, how can we get that? How can we get an employer that has that? Or how can I get a how can I get an employee that has that? Or how can I get an employee that I have to get that? So we need not just people who want to work to come to us, we need our businesses to come to us and have honest conversations with us.
All right, I want to get some contact information. If you're a business or if you're looking for a job, Anthony, do you want me to give out some numbers or some contact information, or do you have it there?
Sure. You can find us online, CareerSourceSuncoast.com. Like you said, you listed our addresses. We're on Manatee Avenue in Bradenton. We're on North Washington 301 in Sarasota. We're partnering, like I said, on site with Goodwill at their location down there in Northport. We're at the 2 technical colleges. So come out and see us. Check us out online. Great way. You can always sign up for our weekly emails, where that's always a great blast once a week with what are the career networking meetings we have going on, the hiring events, job fairs that are coming up, how to get connected with us. So.
All right, so the best way of getting, you say CareerSource.com, that's the best way of people
CareerSourceSuncoast.com. Check us out on our social media pages as well. Yeah, like I said, and then sign up for that weekly email. You get connected to all the things we're involved with.
And walk into our centers. Our centers are open, and we're there to help you. So walk in, come and see our faces, interact with us, and let's, get our community thriving.